Good morning, friends, and welcome back to Read Aloud with Miss Cope. Today is Wednesday, and it's June 10th. Including today, we have 3 more days until school is over. I hope you are working hard on your end of the trimester projects. I can't wait to see you tomorrow. But for now, we're reading It Ain't So Awful Falafel by Firoozeh Dumas. The chapter we left off on is called Curtains Closed. The next day, our bell rings again. I open the door. "You want to do something?" Carolyn asked. "Sorry, but I'm busy." "What are you doing?" she asked. "Stuff." "What kind of stuff?" I never realized how annoying Carolyn can be. "I'm doing Iranian stuff," I say. "Well, I have a new air supply tape that you're gonna love." And with that, she lets herself into my dark home uninvited. It's 1 in the afternoon and all the curtains are closed. I've gotten used to the lack of sunlight, but with the door open and Carolyn standing there, the place suddenly seems like a haunted house. A house filled with the ghosts of dead dreams. My mom is lying on the sofa in her bathrobe, watching a soap opera. Her hair is a mess. "Hi, Mrs. Yousafzai. Nice to see you again," says Carolyn. "Hi," says my mother. She looks surprised to see another human being. It's like I've broken an unspoken pact. No one shall enter this house by letting Carolyn in. I quickly take Carolyn to my room. I want her to see as little as possible of our messy downstairs. As soon as I shut the door, she says, "I know you're avoiding me. You keep saying you're busy all the time, but I know you're lying." I'm too embarrassed to say anything. A part of me hates Carolyn at this moment. Another part of me thinks she is the best friend I've ever had. I really do want to talk to her and tell her that we are running out of money, that I can't go to college anymore, about my mother's sadness that won't go away, about the people being killed in Iran for no reason, and about the scary stuff that my parents are telling me, but that I know exists. I'm not sure she can understand, though. She's already heard more about me than anyone else, but I'm worried she'll reach her limit. Her family is so normal. How do I explain my sad life to her? But before I have a chance to say anything, Carolyn says, "We should totally go see Fame next week. It's playing at Fashion Island and it's supposed to be a really good movie." "Yeah, totally," I say. As a part of me feels relieved that we're talking about something else. Another part of me knows I'm running away from something. Next chapter. Forever yours. I'm folding papers with my dad a few days later, and he suddenly says, "Zamarad, remember that education can never be taken away from you." Then he wipes away a tear. It's the first time I have ever seen my dad cry in my whole life. I so badly want to make him feel better. I want that more than anything else in the world. When I go to hug him, he resists. He says something has just gotten in his eye. I know for sure that it's not true. Next chapter. Uncle Jamshid's neighborhood's cousin. I came home from my paper route, tired as always, and go into the kitchen for a glass of water. "Zamarad," my dad says as soon as he sees me, "I have great news." Did he get his job back? "You got a job interview?" "No, not that. But you know how you haven't gone shopping since I lost my job?" He pauses to swear at the hostage takers, then continues. "I just got off the phone with Bahman Madavi. Do you remember him? He was your uncle Jashid's neighbor's cousins in Ahwaz. In any case, his wife, Shashayaya, that is a hard one, friends. She goes by Shay now. Loves to shop and is about the same size as you. She used to live in Paris. Bahman was just telling me that his wife has a closet full of clothes that she never wears, so I asked if she could give them to you. She said yes. They're coming here for dinner tomorrow night. I have not seen my father so excited in a long time. I'm so happy to see him like this, and I'm looking forward to new clothes. I definitely need a new pair of jeans and some tops." The Mahdavis arrive an hour later. carrying a huge baby blue Samsonite suitcase. Shay Shay is wearing some kind of animal print blouse with a different kind of animal print skirt, plus stacks of gold bracelets on each arm that jingle jangle with every move she makes. I can't stop staring at her. She looks like a zebra mother and a leopard father's offspring who just robbed a jewelry store. Mr. Mahdavi hands the suitcase to my father and tells him he wants it returned. He reminds my father 2 more times before dinner starts. The 4th time he mentions the suitcase. My dad takes it upstairs, dumps all the clothes in my room, and comes back down with it, saying, "Oh, Shay Shay, you're so chic. How will we ever thank you?" Iranians are gifted as gushing compliments. The problem is, you can never tell when they're true. I cannot wait any longer, so I sneak upstairs for a peek at my new Persian-inspired wardrobe. Although having met Shay Shay, I'm not as excited as I was before. The first thing I pulled from the pile is a sleeveless t-shirt size extra large that says sexy grandma on it in sequins. I can't bear to look any further, so I go back downstairs. Thank you, Shay Shay. But I'm wondering about the sleeveless blue shirt that says sexy grandma on it. You're not a grandmother, so why do you have this? Shay Shay clasps her hands together and shakes them, sending her bracelet into jingling frenzy. She lets out a blooming laugh as if the answer is so obvious. "Oh, Zoom Zoom," she says, making up a stupid nickname for me on the spot. Those shirts were 2 for $5, so she smiles. There's another one too, just like it, but in pink. My life officially sucks. I'm guessing she won't be wearing that t-shirt. Next chapter. We do exist. Really. That Saturday, Carolyn's mom picks me up so we can see Fame. She asks me how my parents are, and I say fine, which really means they're not fine, but I don't want to talk about it. I think she knows that. "Carolyn, you have to promise me something," I say to break the awkward silence that follows. "When you become a journalist, you have to report about normal people too." "What do you mean?" "On the news, they only show the crazy Iranians, the ones who are shouting death to America. It gives the impression that all Iranians are like that. They don't show the normal ones. Americans don't even know we exist." "I see. Yeah, I promise." "There's an expression in journalism," Mrs. Williams says, looking at me in the rearview mirror. "If it bleeds, it leads. The more shocking a story, the more chance it has of being reported." "But that's so wrong," I say. "Why let people only see the worst of the world? That's just upsetting and scary. It's not even the whole truth. If you're going to show bad news, show the good stuff too. It's just as important, actually more important." "I agree. And if I ever report about Iran, I will interview you," Carolyn says. "Only if I can wear my sexy grandma t-shirt." We both laugh. I told her about the suitcase of ugly clothes. It turns out the t-shirts were the cutest items in the entire pile. When I mentioned that Shay Shay had lived in Paris, Carolyn says, "You know, there's a Paris in Missouri too." "Hey, when we get to the theater, do you want to split a jumbo popcorn?" asked Carolyn, changing the subject. "Please don't," Mrs. Williams exclaims. "But Mom, it comes with free refills." "That's even worse," says Mrs. Williams. "If you were going to see Fame in Iran, you would not be buying jumbo containers of junk food, would you, Cindy?" "We wouldn't be going to see Fame in Iran," I say. "That movie would be banned." "That settles it. In honor of freedom, we shall eat popcorn," Carolyn announces. I laugh. Mrs. Williams gives us both a look that says, "I give up." Next chapter. July 27th, 1980. The phone wakes me up. I look at my clock. It's 4 a.m. I know it's a relative from Iran. They usually get the time difference wrong and call at odd hours. I go to my parents' room. My dad has picked up the phone. I hear him say, "Is this true, Fatola? Is this true?" He hangs up after only a minute. "The Shah has died." I think I'm in shock. It sounds crazy, but you never think someone that powerful is going to die. He seems so permanent. Maybe it's because his picture was elsewhere in all my textbooks and all the banks and all the businesses. My dad turns on the radio. My mom makes tea. I know none of us will be going back to bed. We're all worried. What now? We don't know, and no one dares wonder out loud. Whoa, big news. All right, so next chapter. Ring, ring, ring. Our phone is ringing, ringing, ringing. Every Iranian is talking about the same thing. If the Shah had died while still in power, his memorial would have been a grand spectacle with pomp and circumstance. He would have been buried with great fanfare in a tomb befitting a king. Kings and queens and presidents and movie stars from around the world would have flown in to pay their respects. The entire country would have shut down. Who would have ever imagined that thousands of Iranians would be in the streets not mourning him but celebrating his death? And who would have believed that the Shah's funeral wouldn't be in Iran? Instead, his funeral was in Egypt, and the only head of state attending besides Anwar Sadat, the leader of Egypt, is the former and not so popular U.S. President Nixon. The funeral is very fancy, with Anwar Sadat says that Egypt will not turn its back on a friend. When the Shah was in power, all world leaders seemed to be his friend. But when he lost his power, everyone disappeared. I guess they weren't real friends, and maybe the Shah wasn't there either. Who knows? I bet when you have power, a lot of people pretend to like you. I can't imagine even ever not being friends with Carolyn, Rachel, or Howie. I'm so glad none of us is rich or powerful. We're friends because we like each other and we have a lot of fun together. It must get complicated when people try to get close to you for the wrong reasons. All right, let's see how we're doing on time. All right, friends, one more chapter and that is it for today. 8th grade. It's the first day of 8th grade, my last year at Lincoln Junior High. My dad drops me off in the same spot he did 2 years ago. The 6th graders with their brand new backpacks look so teeny. I remember how scared I was of the 8th graders back then. Now I'm one of them. I don't feel scary at all. I still feel scared, but not about school. This time about my family's future. My dad remains unemployed and I now know we're running out of money. I overheard my father say to my uncle on the phone, I didn't see Rachel or Howie all summer except on my birthday when Rachel dropped by, but as soon as we got our class schedules in the mail, they called. Both said they missed me. It's true that they were busy with camp, but I also avoided them. I feel pretty bad about this. I only saw Carolyn because she wouldn't give up. As I walked to my first class, I noticed yellow ribbons have been hung all over the school. The ribbons represent the hostages. You see them all over town now, all over the country. My parents and I continue to watch Nightline, and Ted Copeland continues counting the days since the hostages were taken captive. It's been almost an entire year. Carolyn, Howie, Rachel, and I are all on the advanced academic track, so we have a lot of classes together. A part of me is happy to see familiar faces, but another part of me wishes I would be like a turtle and go back in my shell. In our social studies class, we talk about the upcoming presidential election. Sherman Dorfman says that he doesn't think President Carter has a chance of winning re-election because of the hostages. I raise my hand. Miss Kushner calls on me. I take a deep breath. My father lost his job because of the hostages. As soon as I hear my own words, I feel a huge lump in my throat. How so? She asked. That's as far as I get. I start to cry. Oh, honey, Mrs. Cushman says, walking towards me. I'm fine, I say, wiping my nose with my sleeve. I'm fine. My dad was working with a company that was building an oil refinery in Iran. Now, the relations between America and Iran have been cut. My father has no job. I wipe my nose again on my other sleeve. I look around the room. I'm still sniffling. I brace myself for rude comments, but the class is oddly quiet. Everyone is looking at me like they actually sympathize. I wonder if some of them have a parent who lost a job too. Maybe I'm not the only one. That's awful, Miss Kushner says. Would you like to do a report on current events there? Can I do it after the hostages are released? I remember that I have said the same thing to Mrs. Thompson last year. I never did the report. Sure, she replies. The way things have been going, I might as well ask if I can do a report when pigs fly. We spend the rest of the class talking about Ronald Reagan, who is running against Jimmy Carter. Reagan used to be an actor, so some people don't think he's qualified. Others say someone is better than Carter. Anyone better than Carter. I wonder what President Carter will do if he loses his job like my dad. I know he has a daughter that he loves too. All right, friends, we're going to end it there. Have a great Wednesday. Like I said, we'll see you all tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in. Toodles.